honorably, as in daylight, and not in carousing and drunkenness, not in sexual excess and lust, not in quarreling and jealousy. Rather, put on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provisions for the desires of the flesh. That was an arrow that the Lord shot from heaven and hit me right in between my eyes. Okay? So again, this was a transcendent experience. This was something beyond what we normally experience. And it really touched my heart. It really, really did. So this was around Lent. I was very, very moved by this. So I came to my roommate, who was Catholic. He went to St. Mary's in Colorado Springs. I said, you know, Steve, I remember as Catholics we're supposed to do something during Lent. I think we're supposed to give something up. I'm not sure, but I think we're supposed to. He's like, okay. I said, we should give up drinking for Lent. We should give up alcohol. He's like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, I think we should. He's like, why? I was like, I don't know why, but just trust me. I think we're supposed to. And he's like, okay. So we did. We were faithful to that. And we did not drink all during Lent. And for me, that was something, a sign to me that something was happening. My roommate owned some property in southern Colorado near the San Luis Valley. And a big part of his Catholic upbringing was to go to the Stations of the Cross. Many of you have been there. Many of you have seen this shrine. And I had never, ever been there. And I had always wanted to go. I had always heard about it, but never experienced it. And we were both fishermen, outdoorsmen, and anytime we got away from the books, we would go to his cabin and just relax. So I said, you know, Steve, Holy Week's coming up, and I'd love for us to maybe stop by at the Stations of the Cross to spend some time there in prayer. He's like, okay, yeah, we could do that. And I don't know if my dad remembers some of our trips to the cabin, but we would stop in Pueblo for beer and burritos, I think. You know, so this time was a little different. You know, we were on a mission, and we got to the Stations of the Cross on Good Friday at 11 p.m. at night. Okay, so we're sitting in this little parking lot. I think there's one gas station in the town. There were certainly no cars in the town. All the stars were out, and I had my little Bible the way, you know, and my roommate's driving, and he's probably thinking I'm crazy at this point. He's like, you know, who's this guy with the Bible, and why are we out in the middle of nowhere? And he looks at me and asks me, he's like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, we got to go up there. We got to go up there. He's like, okay, let's go, you know. We got out of the car, and by the time you walk up the hill, it takes about 30 to 40 minutes to walk to the top if you pray the stations. And for me, it was so amazing. It was quiet. All you could really hear was the wind and your footsteps on the gravel. Very peaceful. It was cold, but very peaceful. And we got to the top of the mountain, and you could see the whole valley. There were no clouds out. You could see the moon and the stars. And to me, I was just taken back. I was like, wow. And remember what day it is now. It's Good Friday. Good Friday. And for me, it was very good. I asked my roommate, I said, okay, I need some time alone. I need some Jesus time. And I walked over to the 12th station. Does anybody know what the 12th station is? Jesus dies on the cross, right? Jesus crucified. And it's a beautiful statue. All the sinews and the flesh are there. It's just so lifelike. And I stared right at the cross with his head hanging. And I poured out my heart. I really did. I said, you know, why am I here on Good Friday? Why am I here on Good Friday? Why did you create me? Why? Just why, you know? What is this about? What is life about? And I really poured out my heart, and I said, you know, help me, please help me. And it's hard to go back to that moment, but it gave me so much peace. I didn't hear a loud voice, Chris, go be a monk. You know, I didn't hear that. But I felt such tremendous that there was somebody who loved me more than I could even explain with words. And that was amazing. And so we went back to his cabin, and one of the traditions in the Pagano family is to have Easter lunch or brunch with the bishop. And that Easter Sunday I was home. We went to Mass, we went to church with the bishop. Again, I was, asking questions, not real sure about what just happened to me. And after the Mass, I'm sitting across the table from the bishop. And I was, dressed to kill. I had a suit and tie on. And he says, so what are you doing now? I was like, oh, I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to Fort Collins, I've got a girlfriend, car, I'm good. And he says, well, we need priests. And I said, yeah, that's nice. I was like, I respect you and all of your bishopness and all that you do, but that's not me, And I was totally freaked out. I mean, interiorly, I was like, holy cow, this is too much for me. And I just wanted to get out of there. It was very uncomfortable because I remember where I was 2 nights before, asking for answers. And so in a scurry, I went to the closet, grabbed my suit coat, and ran out to my truck. And right as I hit the key with the truck with the key, I hear the bishop call out to me, Chris! And I closed my eyes and said, oh no. And I said, come here! So I walked over there, just embarrassed, and he said, you're wearing my jacket. I said, what? He's like, take it off, you're wearing my jacket. And sure enough, I put the bishop's suit coat on. I was so embarrassed. So I gave it back to him, and he put it on. He goes, I want to show you something. I was like, okay. So he reaches in his suit pocket and pulls out a notebook. And it was a list of people that he prays for. And he shows me my name. And he said, I want you to know that I'm praying for you. And I was just like, whoa, what's going on here, And he said, and I also want you to, he pointed at me, he said, I also want you to know, you cannot run from God. You cannot run from God. And I just wanted to give him a big hug, because I was running from God, there was no doubt. And that, again, was another catalyst that helped me find some answers. So I went back to school, and I made a decision to go back to Sunday Mass, not daily Mass yet. And once I began to go back to Sunday Mass, the pieces started coming together. And how am I doing on time?
Okay. You're doing good.
Okay.
We like it.
Another hour and a half.
I decided to go back to Mass, and it was a really fascinating experience for me. I didn't understand the Mass, not yet, but I knew something. I remember my catechesis as a kid that something was special about Mass. I remember being an altar boy and just feeling the presence of God at the Mass. I didn't know where he was, but I felt like he was there. So the more and more I went back to Mass, the more and more I experienced a sense of being loved, of being in a relationship with God. But it took time. I went through a process of about 2 years of really asking questions. I would go to college parties, and around beer number 7, I think I became a philosopher. And then around beer number 9, I became a theologian. So I studied with some brilliant people, and I was always the one to place the God card on the table. And I was interested in finding out where does God fit into the picture, because I was a scientist, and all that was emphasized was science. And our teachers never talked about philosophy or theology. So I was naturally interested in that. And I would say the next climax of my conversion, again, I went through a process of praying and searching and seeking. The next grace that I received